Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. My name is Molly March and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm your worship associate this morning for this morning's service along with our minister, Reverend Christin Green. We're delighted to have you with us. After the Time for All Ages story, children and youth will be invited downstairs for RE classes where they will connect and explore together. It's not too late to register your children or youth for RE classes or to volunteer to help build and grow our program. Our nursery is also staffed and available downstairs. Our lobby is equipped with a live feed of the audio and visual elements of the service if anyone needs to step out for any reason. Make sure to note other announcements listed on the back of your order of service, including our fall congregational meeting following today's service with lunch provided by our board of directors. Scan the QR codes with your phone for more events, activities, updates, and information for newcomers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, we are glad your faith journey brought you here today. The mission of this congregation is to nurture a loving community, inspire lifelong spiritual and personal growth, and act for a better world. We welcome all of you joining us in person or online. If you're joining us for the first time, we invite you to visit our welcome desk to fill out a newcomer card or send an email to welcome@uucy.org so that we might get to know you. Let us now mark this time made sacred by our presence by taking a collective breath. Again, welcome to UUCY.
Good morning, friends. I am Reverend Christin Green. I use she, her pronouns. And in this congregation, we traditionally observe a brief moment of silence after the announcements, and the worship leader sounds a beautiful Tibetan singing bowl to center our hearts in this time of worship. But I think it's important to name that our Unitarian Universalist faith draws from many sources, and that our many practices did not originate here with us. As early as 5,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia, people began making bowls out of copper for medicinal and musical purposes. This craft and tradition spread over the next thousands of years to Tibet and Nepal and India, where they began creating bowls out of bronze and copper and tin and zinc. As generations continued to master this art and find the most resonance, the Western world also picked up on it and began using them more widely. Today, I draw from the wisdom of the late Buddhist Zen master and peace activist, Thich Nhat Hanh, who shared some beautiful language around the sounding of the bell. He said, "The sound of the bell is the voice of the Buddha within. Every one of us has Buddha nature, the capacity for compassionate, clear, understanding nature within us. We hear the bell and pause." We don't say we hit the bell or strike the bell, but rather that we invite the bell to sound, because the bell is a friend, an enlightened friend that helps us wake up and guides us home to ourselves. Gentleness and nonviolence are characteristics of sounding the bell. Its sound is gentle but powerful. Inviting the bell to sound is inviting happiness into our bodies, that to take root there. Every time we hear the sound of the bell, we have a chance to practice mindful breathing, calm our body, and notice our happiness. We can invite all the cells in our body to join us in listening to the bell and allowing the sound of the bell to penetrate us. Listening deeply, we know that our ancestors are fully present in every cell of our body. And we listen in such a way that all our ancestors are listening at the same time. If we can be peaceful and joyful while listening, then all our ancestors will also experience peace and joy at the same time. It is possible to invite all our ancestors to join us in listening to the bell. Come, let us enter this time of worship together.
We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. 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 We joy, hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We joy, hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through. We are hollow bamboo. Open up your heart and let the light shine through.
Light them up. Okay. As we light our chalice this morning in the sanctuary, a symbol of our living tradition, those joining us remotely are also invited to light a chalice of their own. In the spirit of our imperfections, we humbly thank you for your understanding of a misprint in our order of service this morning. Rather than the reading listed, I offer one entitled To Care Without Drowning by Reverend Michelle Collins. Some days the world's pain floods through us like water through a broken dam. Every headline, every cry of distress becoming our own. We come here thirsty for wisdom, to care without drowning, to love without losing ourselves in the undertow of others' sorrow. Come, let us seek together the steady foundation from which true compassion flows. Please rise in body and spirit to join in singing hymn 1009.
This hymn is a meditative hymn, so you can pick your parts. You can be the lungs, you can just sing. Breathe, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
Thank you. I wonder if those who feel young in body or in spirit might join me on the rug for a special time for all ages with Mary and some extra helpers with props. The story today, hello, good morning. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me. The story I'd like to share with you today, Mary shared with me, and I think it's a really great one that you might relate to. It's called There's No Such Thing as a Dragon. Now, who here believes in dragons? Some of our folks out here believe in dragons. Look back. Raise your hands again. Let's show them how many believe in dragons. Yeah, we got some dragon believers. Now we've got some dragon believers up here too. Cool. Well, this is a story about a little boy named Billy Bixby. And he was rather surprised when he woke up one morning and found a dragon in his room. A little bitty dragon. Does somebody want to hold this for us? It was a small dragon about the size of a kitten. I need it back. She needs it back. I need it back. Can Mary have it? I'm sorry. Handing off the props. So it was a small dragon about the size of a kitten. And the dragon wagged its tail happily when Billy patted its head. Billy went downstairs to tell his mother. And what did she say?
There's no such thing as a dragon.
She said it like she meant it. Billy went back to his room and began to dress. The dragon came close to Billy and wagged his tail, but Billy didn't pat it. If there's no such thing as something, it's silly to pat it on the head. Billy washed his face and hands and went down to breakfast, and the dragon went along. It was bigger now, almost the size of a dog. Billy sat down at the table, and the dragon sat down on the table. This sort of thing was not usually permitted, but there wasn't much Billy's mother could do about it. She had already said,
You can
there's
join me.
no,
There's no such thing as a dragon.
And if there's no such thing, you can't tell it to get down off the table. Mother made some pancakes for Billy, but the dragon ate them all. Mother made some more, but the dragon ate those too. Mother kept making pancakes until she ran out of batter. Billy got only one of them, but he said that's all he really wanted anyway. Billy went upstairs to brush his teeth, and Mother started clearing the table. The dragon, who was quite as big as Mother by this time, made himself comfortable on the hall rug and went to sleep. By the time Billy came back downstairs, the dragon had grown so much it filled the hall. Billy had to go around by way of the living room to get to where his mother was. I didn't know dragons grew so fast, said Billy. What does his mother say?
There's no such thing as a dragon.
Cleaning the downstairs took Mother all morning, what with the dragon in the way and having to climb in and out of the windows to get from room to room. By noon, the dragon had filled the house. Its head hung out the front door, and its tail hung out the back door. And there wasn't a room in the house that didn't have some part of this massive dragon inside of it.
Keep going. It's still going.
Oh my goodness. When the dragon woke up from its nap, it was hungry again, and a bakery truck drove by, and the smell of fresh bread was more than the dragon could resist. So the dragon ran down the street after the bakery truck, and of course, the house went along with it, like the shell on a snail. The mailman was just coming up the path with some mail for the Bixbys when their house rushed by him and headed down the street. He chased the Bixby's house for a few blocks, but he couldn't catch it. When Mr. Bixby came home for lunch, the first thing he noticed was that the house was gone. Luckily, one of the neighbors was able to tell him which way it went. Mr. Bixby got in his car and went looking for the house. He studied all the houses as he drove along, and finally, he saw the one that looked familiar. Billy and Mrs. Bixby were waving from an upstairs window. Mr. Bixby climbed over the dragon's head onto the porch roof and through the upstairs windows. How did this happen? Mr. Bixby said. It was the dragon, said Billy.
There's no such thing as a dragon.
The mother started to say, but Billy said, there is a dragon, a very big dragon. And Billy patted the dragon on its head. Can you pat the dragon on its head, Eric? Thank you. The dragon wagged its tail happily. And then, even faster than it had grown, the dragon started getting smaller. As people started to notice it, soon,
Not so soon.
not so soon, but with time, it became smaller and smaller.
Yep.
And maybe the size of a kitten eventually, or a dog that you can pet. And the mother said,
I don't mind a dragon this size. Why did it have to grow so big?
I'm not sure, said Billy, but I think it just wanted to be noticed. Thank you so much for being here. We are noticing you and all the feelings and experiences that you're having. And we hope that your minds can be open to new learning. So let's sing about that, shall we? Do you remember the hand motions? May our minds be open to new learning, and may our lips speak truth into the world. May our hearts know love, and our hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace, as you go your way in peace, may your minds be open to new learning, and may your lips speak truth into the world. May your hearts know love, and your hands do the work of justice. As we go your way in peace, as we go your way in peace. Take time in our service each week to address what we call matters of the heart, where we gather our spirits, center our hearts, minds, and bodies in a moment of meditation together. And I'm deeply grateful to be able to share this ministry of presence with Nova Copeland today. I invite you to place your hand on your heart to welcome Nova's generous sharing with us this morning.
Hello, dear friends. For those who don't know me, my name is Nova Copeland. I use he, him pronouns, and I sit with the York Water and the Wave Sangha here at the Carriage House on Sunday. Some of you have joined us, and I am honored to lead you in a meditation today. How many people have meditated before? Awesome. This meditation will be a metta meditation, which is the Pali word for loving kindness. Metta meditation helps us to water the seeds of compassion for ourselves and for others in an effort to alleviate our suffering. So now, friends, I invite you to join me in a moment of meditation. Please get comfortable in your chairs. If you're able, plant your feet on the floor and sit up nice and straight. Relax your body as best as you can. You may feel comfortable closing your eyes, or you may want to keep your eyes open. Let's take a moment to find our breath as we enjoy a few sounds of the bell. First, I invite you to focus on your breath. As you inhale, try to follow your breath all of the way through. Perhaps you start to feel it at your nostrils. Try to follow it all the way through your lungs and notice your body expand. On the out-breath, try to follow it all of the way out. Pay attention to your breath and allow any thoughts to fall away. We're all just breathing together. In and out. Breathing in, I breathe in deeply. Breathing out, I breathe out slowly. Breathing in deeply, breathing out slowly. Breathing in, I notice the seeds of love and compassion within me. Breathing out, I send love to myself and to all beings. I invite you to continue to breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly as I recite the next few lines. Feel free to repeat them to yourself as you continue to breathe. May I be happy, healthy, and light in my body. May I be at ease. May I be free from suffering. Now I ask that you think of a person who you love deeply. Maybe this is your spouse, your child, a dear friend. Try to envision yourself turning to them and saying, "My dear, may you be happy, healthy, and light in your body. May you be at ease. May you be free from suffering." Next, I'd like to ask you to think of a person with whom you may have had friction lately. Maybe it's someone whose actions have caused you to feel anger or distress. Maybe it's someone you're struggling to love right now. This person suffers too. This next part may feel difficult, and that's okay, but I encourage you, if you're able, to envision yourself turning to them and saying, "I know we don't always agree. I know we don't always see eye to eye, but may you be happy, healthy, and light in your body. May you be at ease. May you be free from suffering." May all beings be happy and healthy. May all beings be at ease. May all beings be free from suffering. And now, dear friends, see if you can bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Wiggle your fingers, stretch your necks, open your eyes if they were closed. And as we move into matters of the heart, please try to continue this mindful breathing. See if you're able to gently hold the joys and sorrows that present themselves as the candles are lit. Thank you.
Thank you, Nova. We move into the matters shared by our community as a time to share joys and sorrows, small moments of happiness, and the deepening concerns that reside within our hearts. You may choose to share these anytime during the week online, on Zoom, if you're gathering from home, or you can place a slip of paper up here on the pulpit on Sunday morning before the service begins. If we continue this mindful breathing during today's practice of lighting candles, We might breathe in the joy or the sorrow shared with us as if it was our own, and then breathe out the energy that is most needed, be it hope, strength, healing, or celebration. We begin our candle lighting with Molly and Nova sharing this act. We breathe in together, breathing in all that remains unspoken among us. Whether it feels too large or too small to share, whether or not you feel ready to hear it loud, we breathe together in a spirit of cultivating abundant compassion. Breathing out with each other into this silence as we light that final candle, honoring all that we carry with us, and knowing that the flame of our faith kindled here resides within us also at all times. So may it ever be, and amen. You may remain seated as we sing our musical response, which comes in the form of that meta meditation, the loving kindness. May I be filled, may you be filled, and may we be filled with loving kindness.
Because by Rosemary Watola Tromer. So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first and it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I ask myself, what's the use of trying? But today the invitation is clear: to be ridiculously courageous in love, to open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible, and opening anyway. To take love seriously, to give love widely, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance. To feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open. To love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it.
Thank you, Molly. Have you ever been inspired and tired at the same time? I know I have. Recently. Almost as recently as Molly's sharing of today's reading, just moments ago, if I'm honest. I echo the poet saying, what's the use in trying? And then earlier this week, I felt that way when I read the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who once said that true compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It understands that an edifice produces beggars, needs restructuring. He's right. True compassion is hard work. And it's not enough to look on with pity and weep as we learn more and more sorrow in the world. True compassion invites us to action, right? Call me inspired and tired. There's too much work to be done. Not enough hours in the day, not enough volunteers for the tasks, not enough time to rest and recover. If it was only as simple as scooping up a single starfish and tossing it back into the sea. These feelings of emotional and physical, social, and even spiritual exhaustion have become commonly known as compassion fatigue. This phrase has been bubbling up in our vocabulary since the 1970s or 80s, often being described simply as the cost of caring. Some suggest that there's actually a hierarchy of responses that we may have when we encounter suffering. The lowest perhaps being pity, which says, I see your pain. The next level is sympathy, which says, I understand your pain, often misunderstanding the pain in the midst. But not always. The next level up really starts to engage. That's where empathy says, I feel your pain. I feel it with you. The fourth level or on the hierarchy, compassion, this topic that we're discussing, cultivating during this month, compassion says, I am with you in your pain and I will help. Could you feel how different those words were in a sentence? That's how different those responses feel in action. And compassion feels by far the most loaded with responsibility. Is compassion actually costly? Compassion is a complex term derived from the Latin roots com, which means together with, and pati, to bear or suffer. And its true meaning has been contemplated in philosophy and religion for thousands of years. Compassion might actually be better understood as a process that unfolds in response to suffering rather than a feeling itself, beginning with the recognition of suffering, which leads to thoughts and feelings of empathy and concern, and this in turn motivates action to relieve that suffering. As the Dalai Lama says, it is an openness to the suffering of others with a commitment to relieve it. And as I say, thanks a lot, Dalai Lama. I am again inspired and tired. I remember the first time someone suggested that I might be suffering from compassion fatigue. Oh, wow, I thought, there's a term for that. That means I'm not alone, and it does make a lot of sense. I had been experiencing a period of depression that had me feeling a bit emotionally absent, unable to find joy in the things I used to love, too weary from emotional overwhelm to even ask for help, let alone pour anything left from my almost empty cup. Sleep felt like one of the last things that brought me any comfort, but of course, it was insufficient because my heart stayed heavy and my soul stayed tired. I developed guilt around my napping which grew into shame and shadowed even small periods of rest. I just couldn't seem to catch up. But when someone used the words compassion fatigue, I remember initially thinking, maybe I really should try to care less about other people. It's just too costly. And perhaps I did try to care less for a time. I started taking better care of myself and mustered up the courage to ask for help. But my deep desire for human connection always led me right back into caring for others. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. Rabbi Esther Adler points out that the word for compassion in Hebrew is rachamim, which is a plural form of the word rahem, meaning womb. And she argues that our sages say that compassion is like a mother's love for her child, but I think that's completely missing the point. First, Rahem is a womb, not a mother. The womb does not love. The womb sustains and protects the unborn baby simply because that's what it does. Also, the womb connects the baby to the mother in a most intimate way, perhaps the most intimate connection two separate beings can have. The relationship is not symbiotic, though. The womb gives and the baby receives. From this perspective, then, rachamim, or being womb-like, means being connected to another being in an intimate, sustaining way without an expectation of anything in return. Rachamim is not a feeling of sympathy or empathy. It is a deep connection to another human being that moves us to act in ways that are sustaining to that person. Rachamim, or compassion, is not a feeling. It's a choice to acknowledge our shared humanity, no matter how I may feel about you. Buddhist teaching emphasizes non-attachment when practicing compassion. Like the womb, it is our nature to cultivate a compassionate extension of care to others. And like the womb's umbilical cord, we must be prepared to detach. But human beings tend to like being connected to things, to ideas, to people, very often to outcomes, often hinging our satisfaction on external factors that we can't ultimately control, leading to what I think I misunderstood as compassion fatigue. Buddhist wisdom offers a path that leads to the cessation of suffering via acceptance, non-attachment, and surrender, but all in this process of compassion. So it might not be the compassion that's fatiguing you, but how we are processing these events. Acceptance, in Buddhist terms, is not just the acceptance that suffering is inevitable, but refers to our ability to stay present in the moment. When life presents us with something we find painful or uncomfortable, the mind's tendency is to resist and avoid, change, or generally push against it. If we don't like feeling discomfort, and who does, rather than accepting that this is what's here, we engage in various strategies to try and change our feelings. Like the dragon, we resist and ignore, but it only makes it worse. It gets bigger. So in order to experience and potentially change anything, we're instructed to first say yes, to acknowledge, to notice, to lean in and simply let go of the effort and energy we typically invest in resisting reality. Attachment and its opposite, aversion, is often described in Buddhist teaching as the root of all suffering. The practice of non-attachment, of letting go, of our constant grasping and clinging to outcomes, helps alleviate our suffering and increase peace of mind. But the path to surrender is not passive. No, surrender is an active choice. When we surrender, we admit defeat. We don't like doing that. We admit that we cannot shoulder all the pain of the world, nor be all the change that needs to happen by ourselves. But it's important to note that in this admission of defeat and in this act of surrender, we also admit that we believe in something other than our own illusions of power and control. When we finally break open our white fists and begin to breathe deeper, we feel the presence of something greater, something stronger, something more enduring than our resisting in our palms. We feel freedom, even for a moment, freedom from attachment to the outcome and unlimited access to love right here in the now. To truly relieve suffering, to practice true compassion, is not to fix or solve or care enough. It's about non-attachment to the future and about caring here in the now. Helen Rimmer writes about another framing for compassion fatigue that perhaps more accurately describes what we're actually going through as empathetic distress. She explains that when we empathize with someone, our brain processes their pain like our own. And these intense emotional involvement can lead to a cycle of stress and exhaustion. The more we empathize without being able to take effective action, the more likely we are to experience distress. And this can manifest as anxiety and burnout and a diminished ability to support others or even ourselves. Brain scan research using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI machines, has shown that empathy activates areas of the brain associated with pain. Essentially, when we see someone suffering, our brain mirrors that pain. And this neural response can lead to feelings of overwhelm and anxiety and burnout if we can't alleviate it in some way. But the studies have also found that compassion activates different regions compared to empathy. When we feel compassion over empathy, our brain lights up in areas linked to caregiving and reward. This means that compassion can make us feel good and motivate us to act positively. This feeds us and guides us with more clarity than the over-attached or boundaryless empathy. So how can we transition from inspired and tired to fed and led? Get ready for the good news. Research suggests that we fall into that empathetic distress because we often underestimate the value of our presence and listening. Being there for someone, providing a listening ear, offering emotional support are powerful forms of hope within our grasp. Recognizing that these actions are significant can alleviate feelings of helplessness. True compassion is energizing. It's not built to drain us, but rather replenish our emotional resources. By engaging in truly compassionate actions rooted in the now, we can reduce our distress and experience a sense of fulfillment and connection. Reverend Michelle Collins writes about our shared values and theology when she says, mutuality is the spiritual practice of honoring interdependence, recognizing that compassion is not something we offer from above, but something we live within. In Unitarian Universalist theology, mutuality pushes against the hierarchies of the giver and the receiver, the teacher and the learner, the saved and the sinner. It asks us to show up in humility, to listen as much as we speak, and to let ourselves be changed by our relationships. Compassion then becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a way of being together that acknowledges we are all sometimes in need and all sometimes able to help. In pastoral care and justice work and spiritual community, mutuality helps us resist that saviorism and control. It roots compassion in dignity and respect, inviting us to remember that we do not fix one another, we accompany one another. Mutuality turns compassion into relationship, and relationship into transformation. As we breathe together, may we come to accept the existence of suffering and stay present with it in our own bodies. As we breathe out, may we release our attachment to outcomes and begin to surrender control. As we breathe in, may we be filled with the abundant blessing of loving kindness among us. And as we breathe out, may we become empty of our desire to fix and change things, ready to receive gentleness back into our bodies. We breathe in together one final time for this practice, breathing in all the fear and anxiety that remains. And as our heart and lungs transforms oxygen into carbon dioxide to feed the trees again, we breathe out in a similar spirit of transformation and release. Release, release, release. Blessed be. May it be so. And amen. We now invite you to rise in body or in spirit to join in singing our responsive hymn, Break Not the Circle, number 324.
Break
We now invite you into a spirit of generosity as we collect our weekly offering. Each month, we commit to share our offering collection with a community organization that holds our values. Our Share the Plate partner for October is the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center, also known as PERC. Elizabeth Miller is here this morning to share more about this organization's work.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Miller, she, her. I am the development director at the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center. I've been there for over 10 years. How many people, can I just get a raise of hands? How many people have heard of the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center? I have to say that's probably the most I've seen in one room before, which warms my heart. As many of you know, we got our start over 30 years ago. It was really a grassroots effort that mobilized folks in the York community to come together to build what is now a legal services organization that provides free services to immigrants to help obtain or protect their legal status in the states. Before I get into kind of what we do, I wanted just to affirm that what we're talking about today is very, very heavy. Right? Usually when I do one of these presentations, I take a snapshot of the headlines of that very day. And as you can imagine, the doom and gloom there is, it's frightening. We live in a very frightening time. And what I would like to do today is talk to you a little bit about our programs and what we're seeing, just so you guys can get a better understanding of what's happening around us. So we have for pretty much our entire existence provided free legal education to immigrants held in detention. Many of you know about the York County Prison and how that held between 600 and 800 immigrants on any given day. That was shut down, no longer holding immigrants. That ICE has just pivoted to hold folks in Moshannon Valley Correctional Processing Center, which holds 1,900 on any given day. That is in State College area, so it's actually more rural, more remote. So we serve that processing center by providing free legal services. We go in, we talk about what your rights are. A lot of times, that's the only time people are going to interface with somebody in the legal profession before they go before a judge. And we have actually received funding from the government for this work because it moves people through the court faster, which saves everybody taxpayer money, which everybody loves, right? Until this year. That funding was cut by the federal government, and that was termed at the government's convenience. So we lost a ton of funding to do that work. We remain committed to doing it. We actually joined a federal lawsuit against the government and for this purpose, and we lost. That's not deterring us. We are using our own funds. We have attorneys and legal advocates on staff that travel up to the prison in State College and go in twice a month to provide those services because they are critical to maintaining relationships with immigrants in detention center. We are the only program that does that in the entire state. So without it, what happens to that detention center? It becomes a black site. We have signs within the prison that tell people, you can call our office for free for possible legal help. We may be able to represent you. If we can't, we can at least talk to you, answer some questions in the language of your choice. Those posters are being taken down. They are being replaced by self-deport posters. We're still going. In the community, we provide immigration legal resources for immigrant survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and other violent crime. What we see in the community is tragic. This also was a grassroots operation started back in 2009. We started in York. We grew to a 9-county region, and now we serve the entire state. We're the only program that serves immigrant survivors of violence for the entire state. By the way, we just have 16 staff, so we're all very busy. But what we see a lot of in the community is folks without stable immigration status. That's used to hold over them as a form of control, right? There are legal protections for immigrant survivors. If they corroborate with the police or other officials, they might have a path to legal status. That is actually in jeopardy right now. And we are receiving word every day that our funds for that work might be cut, only because the federal government is stating that immigration status might mean that if you're a victim, that doesn't matter if your immigration status isn't a citizen. So we're bracing for that. In the meantime, the government has come after our unaccompanied children's program. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but we have children here in York that are in long-term foster care at Diacon, if you've heard of Diacon. And if they don't have an attorney, they are representing themselves in court. These are children. They might not be able to see over the bench, and they are having to represent themselves. So our attorneys provide that. We provide legal representation. Unfortunately, that was one of the first things the government tried to cut. We fought back, won, but the future remains unclear as our funding for that, federal funding for that, comes to an end in a few months. Despite that, we're working in that program. We have furloughed about 5 employees just because of these funding cuts. And what we're really, really finding is that it's the community that we need. Back before this administration, back before 2025, there was a study that showed that for every one nonprofit immigration legal professional, there was over 1,400 immigrants without status needing services. 1 to 1,400. That's huge. As I would say, as due process erodes, as more barriers are put up, think about folks with temporary protected status that's being taken from them. As there's more need in the community, there's even less of us and less resources that we have to fight with. But we're not stopping. One of the things that we've been doing is working within our community to kind of get back to our grassroots efforts. How do we get our start? It's from hearing from our community members what is needed. As you can see here on the slide, I have and it's really small at the top, you can see, probably can't see, but it says South Central Pennsylvania Rapid Response Team. So we started that, it went live in May. We have a hotline, and we are utilizing volunteers. This is volunteer staffs. And we pick up the phone 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And we are talking to folks who've, their loved ones have just gotten picked up by ICE. We talk to them about what they can do. Do they have immediate needs? What can we do to help them? We do that in any language. We train our volunteers. We are doing that in 5 counties here in Pennsylvania, including York. We're seeing a huge need in York right now. York is actually one of York and Dauphin counties are the counties that are calling us the most. We're seeing a lot of folks, oftentimes it's the breadwinner who's detained. Then what happens for the family, right? So we're getting calls with the kids crying in the background. What can we do? I think this goes back to what you were saying about accompaniment. In so much of what we do, we are facing David and Goliath circumstances. As of a couple weeks ago, the Supreme Court said that folks who have entered the country without inspection, so they've crossed the border, they haven't met with border control or patrol, they are no longer eligible for bond. So what is happening? They're remaining in detention. The Moshannon facility is the 6th largest detention facility in the entire United States. It's the largest in the Northeast. That's in our backyard. It has one of the worst rates for solitary confinement of immigrants. And so when we hear this, we want to respond. So how else can we respond? We're hearing that we can't get bond for folks anymore. So a lot of our work is also focusing on what can we do right now to prepare folks. That includes know your rights. That includes family preparedness plans. What happens if your loved one is detained or deported? Who's going to care for your child? What if you're deported? You're detained or deported. So that's just some of the things I wanted to talk about. There's so much happening right now, but I really would invite you to think about the being present. I wish my entire staff was here to see all of you, because that compassion fatigue is real, especially when you're going up against laws that are changing after 30 years. That is just unbelievable to the attorneys that I practice with. How can you fight back against a machine that is at its very highest, making it impossible to advocate fairly for your client? And that's what we're up against. We're committed to the struggle. We are the last rung of defense before deportation, before the separation of families. So I would invite you to just be present in that. Show up wherever. This is amazing. Again, I wish my staff could see it, because they're in their own, they're getting some wins in court, a lot of losses. They're talking to folks every day, knowing they're not going to have an avenue. They're going to be deported. We are focusing on our ability to give dignity to those individuals in that moment and their families, and how can we help them along in that step of the journey. We are just part of that step in the journey, but we're not going to give up. So I would invite you. I know that immigration is it can really be overwhelming, and just that subject alone can leave you feeling overwhelmed, powerless. What can one person do? And it's not one person, it's all of us. And what we found in our work with the community and our rapid response line, I invite you to share that, and I can send that digitally also, because we have flyers in many languages. But what I would invite you to do is just talk to folks. And really, if we can work together in any kind of way, we will do presentations anywhere. If you want to talk to us individually, we will do that. We are very committed to just continuing with the struggle, whatever lies ahead, and that we're hoping that we can get through this. One of the other things that we found is congregations are our most allied communities within these times. Outside social service organizations, outside federal funding, outside foundation funding. There's a lot of fear out there. But where there's a lot of community coming together is within places of faith. So we're finding that we're so thankful for your allyship. We are in this together, and in any way that you are wanting to get involved, please talk to me. After, you can also follow us on social media, email me, call me, all of that. We are just happy to grow as a community as we set up for whatever comes next. So, thank you.
The offering. If this is your first time visiting us, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence is a gift.
To be whole.
Please join us in extinguishing your chalice and your home chalices, if you have lit them, with the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light, truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you, choir, for sending it home with that reminder that it would feel strange to remain in the hopeless place, that our gathering gives us something, even an opportunity to breathe together, to listen to the sound of the bell, to rest for a moment in the freedom of non-attachment so that we can become clear in how we are to show up, whether it be sending loving kindness, whether it be showing up in another way, that is sufficient and that matters because the world does depend on it. I'd like to thank our choir in advance for this last reminder, this musical invitation to be gentle with ourselves, to love ourselves, that we are children of the universe being born each moment, that we will not always get it right, but we can try again in the next breath and the next breath. May you go in peace.
I will be gentle with myself.